Life Audio.
Today on Talk About That, John tells us why he'd be a terrible NASCAR driver, and we argue over whether professional wrestlers are athletes or actors. Meanwhile, I have a run-in with the cops because I forgot my phone and tell the story of NBC's diabolical plan to get people to buy color TVs in the 1950s. Plus a conversation about worry and the importance of having control over your thoughts. Today's episode is not sponsored by voicemails. It's like a text message that gets completely ignored. But first, a word from our actual sponsor.
Johnny, it's another episode of Talk About That. We're here to talk about whatever it is that honestly people want to hear.
You don't think that's not the...
Do you think that they come in going, I hope they talk about X?
I don't know. I think people, if you listen, it's because you like being along for the ride of our little stream of consciousness thing. And if you don't listen, it's because
you don't like that.
The episode's not just titled like toys, and we're going to spend a whole hour talking about toys.
Yeah, we do. We've made some adjustments to titling on a few episodes.
Yeah,
because we're being
watched.
Guys, we're doing this right now from my closet. Because we're being coached on ways to reach more people.
Right.
But we struggle with that because our episodes generally have more than one thing in the title because we talk about so many things.
Just like a conversation.
Exactly. A conversation doesn't just
can't hem us in.
If you and I talk about the same thing for a straight 45 minutes,
right?
Could you imagine?
Well, I think we could solve it, whatever that thing is.
That much brain power on one problem.
I wonder what that comes from, being hemmed in.
I would guess like
somebody,
when they used to sew people into their blankets when they were there, like in the...
You get hemmed in?
Yeah. You remember, did you watch The
People
Patriot?
got sewed into their blankets?
Yeah, you don't remember this? It actually is true. So... On The Patriot, if you remember that old movie.
Yeah.
It's Heath Ledger and whatever the girl.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, but the girl, his romantic interest, Heath Ledger. So they're liking each other,
right.
But the house is not big enough for an extra room.
Okay.
And so what they do, they put them in the bed and then sew them in on each side where they can't get out for the night.
So there's no...
Right. No hanky-panky, as it were.
Huh.
But they're in the bed together, they just can't move. So...
What if you got to go to the bathroom or something?
You should have thought this through. Yeah. It's
like a NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Have you heard that about NASCAR drivers?
Uh-huh.
That they just go?
Don't they have a special thing in their suit?
I think it just evaporates.
What?
You just go.
No.
It's hot. It's like 1,000 degrees in those cars.
Even so?
Yeah.
Maybe you should install some air conditioning.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you ever see a NASCAR driver, there's chafing.
I'm sure.
They have diaper rash.
You notice how high they have the steering wheels?
No.
I mean, it's like up here.
Well, they're both, it's like they click in, so that's interesting.
But it's like they're driving like this. Like, guys, if you could see me right now.
It's probably they get better control.
Yeah, but when I drive, even when I go fast, I want my arms out. You know what I'm saying? I want to be comfortable. If I was on the racing circuit, I would be like passing people. It's like, hey.
You'd be like lean to the side, like, what's up, everybody?
How you doing?
I don't know why John can't win a race.
Hey, you don't know what I could do.
Jeez. I do know what you could do, and it's nothing. You would be a terrible race car driver.
What? I'd be signaling and stuff.
Is that not? What do you know? Left turn again.
There you go.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Were you ever into racing?
No.
Really?
You?
No.
No. And I'm sorry if that offends.
No, I don't know. Maybe is it maintained popularity?
Oh.
I was into pro wrestling. That's about the most redneck thing you can be into.
Have you seen the movie about pro wrestling?
Iron Claw?
Yeah,
it's about the Von Erich family. It's on Max right now, and I think we're going to watch it this week because now it's free to watch. We didn't get to see it at the theater, but I knew all about the Von Erichs. It's like a cursed family, basically. Like, it's really a sad story, but they were like the first family of Texas wrestling, and but yeah, so it's the story about their family. But it's very convincing. The casting of that movie is really good.
Well, it's got the guy from The Bear. Have you watched The Bear?
Mm-mm.
You need to watch.
Oh, it's about a chef, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's about a bear who cooks.
It's fascinating. It's just really, really well written. I'm not endorsing everything about it, Johnny.
Oh boy, here we go, John.
I'm not saying you guys should make your kids go watch The Bear.
Out here making
adults.
people stumble.
Oh no, what if I stumble?
I don't know. But yeah, pro wrestling was a thing for me. That's pretty redneck. That's pretty.
It is, because it's rigged.
I don't think that. It's predetermined.
It's basically acting.
Sure.
But they're great athletes.
Sports entertainment.
They're amazing athletes. What they're doing, and they really are jumping and flipping and all the things.
And it's hurt. They get injured.
Sure they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you may think you can withhold whatever your power is when you're taking a metal chair to somebody, but
right. No.
It's still hitting them with something.
Yeah. They They had to, like, they would ban things in certain areas, like pile drivers, because those were dangerous. Because people actually, you could really, if you didn't land it right, you could break somebody's neck, right? Bouncing their head off the canvas,
which is what you're trying to show everybody.
You're trying to make it look like you're doing every time, but you're not. They're not really connecting. But every now and again, somebody would, and they'd be like, "Oh, wow."
I wonder how many kids at home
ever gave their
just like
my older brother used to put us in the figure 4 leg lock, and it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then you got to roll it over. If you roll it over, you reverse it. So if I could but he was bigger than me, so I was like, oh, man, if I could just roll this over.
I remember I was watching WWF. I was a big Ultimate Warrior guy.
Yeah.
Why did you not like him?
He was a really bad wrestler. He was all hype.
Johnny, I think that tracks with me.
That's what I'm saying. You were a kid, so you're like, yeah, he's got tassels off of his muscles.
Yeah. And I remember him just jumping a lot from the
If
ropes.
you ever watched his matches, none of them went over 5 minutes. Is because he was, in wrestling terms, he was what's called blown up. In other words, he was already winded by the time he ran down to the ring.
But he was all jagged.
Yeah, but he wasn't in cardiovascular shape.
I love it that you're saying he's a bad wrestler.
Steroids.
Can we say he's a bad actor?
There's a way to work in wrestling where you're putting holds on people. He would like run around, clothesline you, body press you, slam you, drop a leg on you, and then you're supposed to. That's the pin. He'd splash you. You know, go off the rope and splash, and where you just throw your body onto that person, and that's his finishing maneuver. But if he never had like a. Ric Flair used to go an hour. They call it Broadway. Literally, you go an hour TV time limit. They call it Broadway, where he wanted it to. He would keep the belt, so he wanted the other guy to still look good. So it'd be like him versus Nikita Koloff or Ricky Morton or whatever, and they would do a Broadway, which is like 1 hour in the ring.
Wow.
And fans would watch it, and these were fascinating matches. That never happened in WWF. No WWF wrestlers, like Hulk Hogan's average match was like less than 10 minutes. He would get beat down, and then he'd be like, and he would come back, he'd Hulk up. Yeah.
Yep.
He'd put his hand to the ear. Oh, the hand would go up. He'd come to sleeper hold 1, 2, and on that third, he'd be like, shake,
Wow.
He'd point, no.
You really know a lot.
I know a lot about wrestling.
This.
I know too much.
Yeah. I just never,
But for some reason, NASCAR was like beyond the pale. But
that's funny because these are like real drivers.
It's real.
In real danger.
But a lot of people don't consider them athletes either. That it's just they're driving.
Let me tell you
something. Are they athletes?
Well, it's on ESPN.
Are they athletes though?
Yeah, I think so. I would have said when I was younger, no.
Okay.
But I've grown.
Now that you're old.
Right. Now
and you want your driving to be counting for athletic.
Yeah, guys, can you not count what I'm doing? Look, I'm going to have to, this is going to be a short episode because I have to go pick up my daughter. And I could be driving fast, and I would love it if someone called me an athlete when I did it.
Speaking of which, John, I got a ticket the other day.
No.
My first one in like probably 10 or 12 years.
No way.
And
were you out of town?
No, it was the worst.
Oh, no.
It was the worst. I go to Firestone to get my tires rotated. I'm doing very adult things. I'm adulting.
I hear that.
Got my tires rotated, go back to pick them up. Okay, great. Yeah, that'll be this, blah, blah, blah. It was a free rotation. I bought the tires there, lifetime rotation and alignment.
Okay.
Firestone, not a sponsor. And I'm headed back home. And by the time I get home, I realize I don't have my phone with me. I've left it on the counter at Firestone. So when we get back, I got to go back and get my phone. We call Firestone. They go, yeah, it's here. So now I'm in a hurry to get to my phone before somebody picks it up off the counter. And I'm going like 49.
But they said that they're going to hold it for you.
Yeah, but come on.
Okay.
Before we could reach them, though, I was already on my way back. And we're going down one of these little roads, little subdivision roads by my house. And it's a 30, and I'm going 49 to try to get back to my phone.
That's almost 19 over.
And the guy passes me. Well, now they have the devices, and the cop passing you is tracking your speed.
Yeah.
They don't have to be waiting with it like they have a thing aimed at you.
I'm sure it's some AI thing.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, he pulled me over, and I've gotten like several warnings in a row, so I was hoping for a warning. I did not get a warning. I got a $180 ticket.
Ooh. Was it reckless?
No, reckless would have been 25 and up and over. I was going 19 over. But I had to call today to set up. I'm going down to pay it today, and I'm going to set up my little driving school.
Okay.
To try to keep it off the old.
Although now that
I've told people, maybe my insurer is going to be listening to the podcast, and they'll ding me anyway.
Yeah.
Man,
we get insurance ads a lot.
I've said too much.
You have.
But all that said, I'm going to have to burn a Monday night and about $400 total because I left my phone at Firestone.
Wow.
So keep an eye on your phone is, I guess, the moral of the story.
Couldn't it have been that aren't you still responsible for the speeding? You're saying that basically the phone being left, which you were also responsible for. Like, if I was telling this story, you'd be all over me right now. Like, John, you left the phone, and then you decided to speed.
No. I did all the things, but I'm just saying I wouldn't have I don't normally speed.
Oh, okay.
I was in a hurry.
You remember the last episode we talked about moral superiority and the high ground?
Yes.
I feel like that's where you're standing on this whole thing.
If you speed, I'm better than you. You're faster than me, but I'm better than you.
Better and higher.
No, I don't speed because I'm trying to save gas. I'm old. I'm trying to save gas. I don't want to speed. So I'm afraid of tickets. I'm afraid of tickets. I went through my teenage years, my first few years driving.
I remember.
I had a spindle full of tickets. Uh-huh. It was rough.
You got a lot of tickets when I first met you too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was a speed demon. So I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
And so this was I've learned the error of my ways, and it is.
Yeah.
I'm up.
A very well-due wake-up call. Like, I've been hoping something
needs to snap me out of this before somebody gets killed.
Yeah, Johnny.
You hit somebody going 49, John.
That's true. No, you don't need to do that in a residential area. All jokes aside.
That whenever you're in a 30, you could be going faster. Like 30, it feels like you're barely moving.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Normally you go 40 in a 30. 49.
49 was up there.
They're going to get you.
Yeah, it was. Now, John, I think it's a good spot for us to stop. And I'm curious what's going to come in the ads now.
It's going to be Geico
it's gonna be something insurance. Yeah. Let's hear a word from a few of our sponsors. I got pulled over last year.
Yeah.
And the guy pulled me over.
And you went, I'm a pastor.
No, I didn't pull that card.
Before we go there. I just want you to know, I'm praying for you and all your brothers in arms.
We are so grateful for your service to the community.
Blue lives matter.
Do you remember that time? Anyway.
Okay.
And he came up, he was like, when's the last time you had a ticket? And I was like, oh, man. Because my memory.
And he goes, other than today. Because you're getting one.
I said, I think it's, maybe about 10 years.
Yeah.
He walks away with my license.
Okay. He's checking up on you.
He comes back and he goes, you're exactly right. It's been 10 years. Wow. I was like, wow, I can't believe that. Mm-hmm. It was total guesstimate. It's kind of like I do when you want me to pick a date or whatever for something on history. I'm just kind of making it up.
Last time you slept through the night without having to tape your mouth. Right.
And 10 years.
Listen to last episode. John's a mouth taper.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Mouth taper. And so basically he was like, well, you have a CDL. So this is, if I gave you a ticket, it's more trouble. So
he's letting you know.
It's been 10 years, so just slow down and let me go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, look at that.
Johnny, the moral of the story, go get a CDL.
Go get a CDL.
Yeah.
You guys tried to get me to get my CDL years ago because you wanted me to drive things for church. And I said, if I get that CDL, every church trip, y'all are going to be calling me up. John, can you drive can you drive this bus full of kids?
And listen, and that's a compliment.
I don't want to help people.
If we asked you to get a CDL, that's a compliment that we thought you could drive well, because there's people I would not ask.
You wouldn't ask to do that.
Some people would offer. I'd be like,
yeah,
it's okay. I've ridden with you, whatever. Like, but yeah, keeping a CDL is not.
Yeah.
Like, I have to go do a health check like every 2 years and get a card that I keep in my wallet.
Oh.
You have to have a fitness card, basically. So,
and you flash it whenever you need it. Whenever you need
I say, I think you've seen my CDL fitness card. I think it speaks for itself. Because, the truck driving population are known for their fitness.
Wow, that was I don't like that. That was
just saying,
hateful.
No, I just mean it's just interesting to me.
Really interesting. Keep going. What if we have truckers listen? We happen to have several truckers that we know listen to the show.
And they would be the first one.
To admit what, John? That they're out of shape?
No, that they're not out. I'm just saying.
Wow.
They're in better shape than me.
Wow. We call this backpedaling.
Yeah, sorry guys. I was just teasing. So
yeah, we can't all be in such great shape like you are, John.
Well, I knew when I brought that moral superiority thing that it was going to backfire at some point. You were just waiting. Now you just wait, John. I'm coming. Hey, Johnny, it's about that time though.
Oh, is it?
I think it's time for us to change the subject.
Yeah, it's time for John's quote of the week.
It's a little segment we call "They Talked About That." I moved around a lot on that one.
Yeah.
Started high, falsetto, and came down low. This one's attributed. So I can't tell you the exact source, but it's attributed to Voltaire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Voltaire. And I thought this was interesting. He says, or is attributed to having said, the most important decision you make is to be in a good mood.
That doesn't sound like a very Voltaire quote. He was very...
He's a theologian too. Like
what is it again? The most important?
Most important decision to make is to be in a good mood.
Why don't you try telling your spouse that? That'd be amazing. I think it was Voltaire, sweetie. Before we continue this fight, I think it was Voltaire.
Yeah.
Who said.
The most important thing, I'm going to backpedal on the, by the way.
Yeah.
He wrote criticisms of the Roman Catholic Church, slavery, advocate of freedom of religion, separating church and state. I'm not sure I would call him a theologian. He was a historian.
Yeah.
And
philosopher.
Yeah. So apologies for that. But I knew he wrote a lot in those places, but he was more from a critical
Voltaire,
viewpoint.
The most famous Voltaire quote that I know of is, if they can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. Mm-hmm. That's a famous Voltaire quote. Yeah. So he had a very tenuous relationship with just people who just believe things blindly. Yeah. So sometimes that came off as criticism of religion at large, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that whole idea of...
He also thought being in a good mood was just something you can decide to do.
Well, you know what?
Here we go, John.
This is the interesting thing, because we talk about this in our house a lot, mindset before a game, mindset, and I think about that a lot. I think the older I get, the more I've recognized, whether it's through... like someone said the other day, hey, I'm going to work on some breathing exercises and other things. And it's you might not think that works. It's no, I absolutely believe, whether it's in our meditation on scripture, or whether it's being in nature, or whether it's, allowing us to take deep breaths and to settle, our bodies, our blood pressure, other things, that there's just a lot of tools there that I can actually affect. I can affect my mood in ways that I didn't realize I could. And this isn't just a feeling thing either. And this is not like if you have a mood disorder necessarily. I'm not speaking of that, although I think the tools always help. See your doctor, all those things, and there's no shame on those things. I just think that to say, today I want to be in a good place mentally. Just the want of it, especially for people like you and I who tend to wake up probably thinking about all the problems that either need to be solved or can't be solved, whether you watch the news or social media or all the things. There's an overwhelming sense of the responsibility part of me is saying, I have to know all the things.
Right.
And maybe there are things in my own life I need to address.
Right.
The idea of going, actually, what's good for not just me, but for the world, is that I choose to come to this day from a positive place. And I think that sounds to me, the cynic in me feels that that's very kitschy. Mm-hmm. Just these positive, good mood people. Right. And I think there's something to be said for
they're kidding themselves, or they're hiding themselves away from the bad things in the world.
Yeah.
And so it can feel sometimes it can feel irresponsible not to worry.
Right.
I'm out here worrying for everybody.
Exactly.
I'm doing the work.
Well, I love what you always say. If you're not worried, then you're not paying attention.
Yeah, it's that's so. I don't know. I realize I'm just saying that's kind of the underlying philosophy of the worrier. Without whether they believe it or not, they're acting like that's about moral superiority in a way too, because you're kind of feeling look, I'm the one who's really plugged in out here.
Yep.
You guys are all out there pretending with your head in the sand. And then the more you meet a positive person, the more you realize, no, they're in touch with their darkness enough to know sometimes that they need the light. They need to keep themselves in the light.
Exactly. And I have a choice of whether – now, I can't always choose mood, I think, but I can say this is what I want today, and then I can use tools. I mean, for me, man, just some time in nature with God, or just time in the bedroom before I start my day with the right book or the whatever. And it makes a difference, not just from a whole day, but it does say, hey, I'm choosing to set myself on a course. And I have that. That's when I say set myself. I'm not saving myself, but I am bringing myself to the place of being saved. That I have that choice of how I'm going to think. And I think we really, as much as I struggle with, ideas of people who use confession theology to the extent of denying reality, right? The positive confession, that's a place you and I run from. But what do we do then with Philippians 4 of whatsoever things are good and pure and of a good report? In fact, I have the staff meeting now. I put it in one note every week. It's the first thing we talk about is we're going to talk about something of a good report this week.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate wins. Yeah, I think there's something to that. Like your thought life is one of the things that you have control over that does set your path.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can really get a handle on where your thought life is by, we've talked about this before, but the algorithm. What is your Twitter feed feeding you? Because they know the tweets that you linger on. They know the ones you click on. And they're feeding you more of that. So if you start noticing like, why is my feed so negative or why is it so whatever? Well,
it's reflecting you.
It's reflecting you. So it should be a red flag for you in some ways.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Voltaire possibly.
Voltaire, we think.
Some of the problems, like I often will read things and get quotes. And sometimes I'll look at quote sites and things because I like every day before the podcast, even we did this. I love having quotes and looking things, but you can't always find the sources properly on some of those.
One of my favorite quotes ever in the history of it is, it's amazing what can be accomplished when no one cares who gets the credit.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about that quote is it's attributed to like 8 people. Yeah.
No one, we can't figure out who to give credit to.
People wanted the credit.
That's great. Yeah. Love it.
All right, John, let's go back this week in history. We call it Talk About Then. John born this week, 1952. Lawrence Terode. You know him by just his last name initial, Mr. T.
Oh, wow.
Mr. T, born this, happy birthday, Mr. T. He was an American actor, wrestler, bodyguard, and bouncer. His famous saying, I pity the fool.
Yeah. Did he coin that, I wonder?
Yeah, I pity the fool that messes with me. Yeah, I pity the fool.
Was it in A-Team that he coined that? Or was it in wrestling?
Maybe. No, wrestling was after.
Because I wonder if they tried to stop him from using it, if they owned it, whatever he said on the show. No. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think that was his thing, I pity the fool. He won the TV game show America's Toughest Bouncer in 1980 and was Hulk Hogan's tag team partner at the World Wrestling Federation's first WrestleMania. So it all comes back to wrestling, John.
It doesn't it, though?
That was to kind of get viewers. They were really trying to get somebody that was like kind of kindred to the world of wrestling, but not exactly a celebrity that could wrestle, but,
Which, by the way, art imitates life in that way because that's what they did in Rocky 3 as well. They were bringing a celebrity.
It's like a sideshow.
Right.
Well, and they're doing it. They're still doing it. I mean, Mike Tyson, who's 56, is getting ready to box, Jake Paul, who's just a YouTube influencer who started boxing professionally, basically fighting a bunch of tomato cans over the past few years. And so now he's going to fight a very aging Mike Tyson, and it's going to be live on Netflix, and I cannot wait. So anyway, go Mike Tyson. John, this week, 1956, the NBC Peacock airs its feathers, making its first on-air appearance, that logo. And this was, I wanted to put this here because I thought the genesis of it was interesting. NBC used the Peacock to promote its color programming and to encourage viewers to buy color TV sets. So even that was a little bit of you can't see the Peacock.
Right. All the colors
until you get that color TV set. So even then, we're trying to get people to buy things they couldn't afford.
Yeah.
They were making decisions behind the scenes like, I bet if we put something that's full color as a logo, it's very, very crafty.
The dun dun dun. I'm trying to think what intervals those are. It's a 1. Is that a 1, 5, 3?
Well, I will say it's a D chord. If you do a D chord, a standard D chord.
It's a 1, 5, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
NBC. Anyway,
which is so recognizable to use the simplest of all 1, 5, 3.
Well, yeah. Even ESPN is da-na-na. Like it's amazing how simple.
Yeah.
It sticks in your head. It's all about
the right notes.
We need one of those for the show.
We do. We need a little, where's our by Menon? By Menon.
Yes.
We don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
Ours is dumb.
Or like booking. What is it? Booking.yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a thing, but it's just like, okay, that's fun to say.
What does that even mean? What does
it
booking
means nothing. You can't booking.yeah into the internet. It won't.
Maybe, or what if booking.yeah is actually a domain they've bought? Wouldn't that be something? Has anybody ever typed it in? Mm-hmm. Okay. John finally born this week, 1859. Scottish physician, author, creator of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I found his history fascinating. He's a very, kind of a Renaissance man. His belief in spiritualism and the existence of fairies put him at odds with his one-time friend, Harry Houdini. So this is an interesting contemporaries.
And
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle hung out with Harry Houdini, but Harry Houdini was like, look, you're into fairies. I'm not. Yeah.
To think that if you offend Houdini, you must be really out there.
Yeah, who's trying to convince people that he's doing magic.
Right.
Meanwhile, he's like, I don't believe in magic.
Doyle thought Houdini was a fairy.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying? Like a magical...
Houdini's debunking of mediums and psychics, including debunking Doyle's wife, ended their friendship.
That will do it.
So he did one of the... That wasn't cool. I mean, I guess it's not cool. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I'm all about debunking mediums. And I mean...
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying...
I don't do it on the regular or something. I'm just saying I'm okay with it.
Okay.
If people are being deceived.
What do you think you could do that would end our friendship, John?
If your wife was a medium, that would give us more potential.
Right. You'd be like, hold on a second.
Bro, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've tried. Nothing's worked,
Keep plugging away. You'll get there. We'll have our inevitable whatever.
No, we won't. It'll be fine.
Doyle was also, this is my favorite, Doyle was also a judge at the world's first bodybuilding contest in 1901. What a life this guy lived.
Yeah, wow.
First of all, bodybuilding contest in 1901, I would imagine is different from a bodybuilding contest today.
They're probably wearing long sleeves.
The bodies have changed a lot. There wasn't performance-enhancing drugs. There was no spray tans to make the muscles pop and all that.
Yeah.
People are just orange when they come out of these.
They are.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday a girl walking out of school. I was picking up Sadie, and she was orange.
Yeah.
Like very orange.
Yeah.
And everybody it was great. I mean, that's what they do.
Everybody's okay.
It's like, this is cool. This is what we do. Yeah.
That's hilarious. You're like, hey, this is how the kids are now.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so Arthur, would you ever have thought that the creator of Sherlock Holmes was a judge at the world's first bodybuilding contest? That's going to be on a trivia thing one night, and you're going to be like, got it. Yeah. No, I would not have. Mm-hmm. But I keep thinking of is it Billy Madison? Doyle Rules? Doyle Rules.
Oh, yeah. Every time you said that, I was like, why did my brain go there?
Conan Doyle Rules.
Out of all the places I could go.
No.
That's where
That's because you're...
Not very...
No.
You'd think that I would try to be more well-read and sophisticated.
Did you like Sherlock Holmes at all? Did you ever read the Sherlock Holmes mysteries?
I never read them. I actually like the movie, some of the movies of Robert Downey Jr.
Those are good. She doesn't like them?
No. I don't know if it was the spiritism of some of it that's not real, but it's interesting. He's debunking the spiritism in that first movie especially.
Right. Because everybody thinks everything's whatever.
They keep thinking the guy is raised from the dead or whatever.
Yeah,
he's not.
At all.
I hate to spoiler alert.
No.
But,
Well, I feel bad that him and Harry Houdini had I wonder what that could have been a lifelong friendship.
Oh my goodness!
But for his medium wife.
Isn't that just like our lives?
Mm-hmm. It is. It's exactly like our lives.
Guys, we know it's a shorter episode today, but we appreciate you.
But you probably saw it coming because your wife is a...
Nothing surprises you guys, but you should check out our website.
Talkaboutthatpodcast.com. Click on that upper right link if you want to get ad-free content, lower right-hand link if you want to send us a note, or hello@talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
Yeah, and on that website, you should go to our YouTube channel and listen. If you just watch a couple videos for a few minutes, if you're listening along,
see our ugly mugs.
That helps us, and then you can also subscribe. Like, we would love to have subscriptions to all the above in your private.
It helps more people find the show.
It does. Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Check out JonnieW.com, JonnieW.com for latest tour dates. You should follow him on socials. He's a great follow. Lots of funny videos all the time being put out by
New
Jonnie
tour
W.
dates coming. I forgot to tell the story of who I met, but I met Yakov Smirnoff.
Really?
Last week.
Wow.
at my show. And he came to my show, like he came down from Branson, where he has had a show for 31 years, because we've become pals, and he wanted to see my show. He found out that I was going to be kind of nearby, hour and a half away. He drove down to see my show, and I put him on my show. He did a guest set.
Oh my gosh. That's
famous.
Huge.
I mean, it's great. He was like one of the original Comedy Store comics.
Yeah.
So we're all standing on his shoulders in some way.
That's amazing.
Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah, you put that in.
Look up Yakov Smirnoff if you don't know who I'm talking about. He was like a Russian. He learned English to become a stand-up comedian here, and this was during the Cold War. So it's an amazing story.
Wow.
And I'm still.
I think we talked about it in a past episode.
We did. We talked about it.
Johnny's going to go find that and link to it.
I will. I'll link to that.
Yeah. He's not going to do that.
I will. I won't.
It'll take some time.
Anyway, me and Yakov are pals now. We're best buds.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very
America,
cool.
what a country.
What a country. Well, guys, we appreciate you joining us every week. It actually is something that we enjoy doing, and thanks for spending the time with us. We'll see you next week, huh?
Talk about that.